Hi! So in case it wasn't obvious, I have a particular affinity for vintage Toshiba laptops. So I was pretty happy when this one popped up on eBay. It is a Toshiba T4400C, and it was listed with my favorite words, not working, but in particularly good condition. Internally it looks great as well. The screen is nice and clean and the keys all look to be together. And it also came with the original battery pack and charger. So, picked it up. Let's take a look and see what we've got. Alright, so here we are. Got the 44C100 on the bench. Like I said, it is in really good condition. It's got the hinges still here. The screen looks terrific. Nice clacky keyboard that I'm very happy with. It's just a little bit dusty, but in all it seems particularly nice. So, like I said, it does have the original battery pack, and we can see here this is a 16.8 volt NiCad, 2400 milliamp hours. It's almost guaranteed to be dead, so I will have to split this open and repack the cells in here. I'm not even going to bother with that. I'm just going to leave it out for now. But I do have the original Toshiba power adapter with it. So the AC adapter with the, whatever, Toshiba, let's see, the proprietary connector. Really annoying, but you can see here that it does output. It's got two different 12 volt rails. 21 volt rails, and then a common, and then I'll see, I don't know what that stands for, but it's something. Anywho, let's get this plugged in and see what we have. So the charging port is at the back here with our DC in. Oh yeah, we've got some PS2 mouse, there's a video, VGA, printer, Floppy, and a serial port, and then there's a dock expansion port, and there's even a ground lug in there. That's kind of cool. But yeah, let's get some power to it. Let's see what we get. Okay, well, we've got a charge light. That's positive. I believe that's charge. Yeah, battery. Okay. And so we've got power, caps, overlay, numlock, hard drive, floppy, and battery. So let's hit power and see what we get. Okay, we get power, caps lock, numlock, and it whinges about the hard drive and nothing on the screen. How interesting. And we can turn it off. You can almost hear a hard drive spinning up. Well, not spinning up, but like the head clicking. I don't know if that's power supply doing that or, yeah. Ooh, now we've got a floppy drive light on. And yeah, we don't get any activity from the screen at all, so I think there's definitely going to be some issues internally. Can't be that lucky, but like I said, I bought it not working. And it does, in fact, give us that satisfaction of fixing something. So let's crack this open and check it out. I'm not actually familiar with what this is, the 120. I think it's a 486. I'll have to dig into it in a bit. Let's see what's behind this expansion bay, I suppose. Oh, so that'll be our BIOS. It looks pretty clean in there. You can't really tell, but it's not much dust ingress. And yeah, let's, no, I'm not going to be able to use that. Let's go to our screwdriver. Okay. Cool, so the keyboard's up. Oh, it looks like we've got another plate here. Well, let's also get this battery pack out. That'll need to be rebuilt as well. Could spy another battery pack in there. Tiny little screw down there. And another screw over here. It looks like it should come out now. Yes. And then there's our CPU. So it is indeed just a regular stock old 486SX 25 megahertz. Not too shabby. Okay, so let's get this keyboard connector out of there. Yep, there we go. So there's our keyboard module. Pretty good condition. All right, pop that off to the side as well. And let's see about taking this other bit off. So there's a screw here. Oh, there's our hard drive. Okay. Okay, so we've got these little connectors down here to get rid of. That is the entire screen mechanism. Okay, and this one just looks like a pin connector. So that was on these pins right here. Very cool. Okay, and there's our screen module. Okay, let's pop that off to the side somewhere carefully. Cool, so we've got another battery here. Let's get rid of that. Well, that's a weird looking battery. Looks like a bunch of little cells. Oops, all together. I don't know. I guess it's just to fit in this little gap there. Interesting. And then that's the slot for our battery to go. And here's our power supply. So we've got little switches. I don't know what that one was for on the side. Oh, that's our power switch. And this is a reset button. Okay. And then there's a connector. I guess this is for powering the main board. Let's take the power supply out. Okay, there's our power supply. Actually looks in pretty good condition. Let's take a look. No, those caps look bulgy. And they're all very high quality Nichicons. Oh, sorry, Elnas. These ones look like Nichicons. Oh no, they are Elnas. Okay. But I can't see any evidence of leakage. Toshiba power supplies of this era, though, were pretty well known for failing miserably. So it's worth investigating regardless. The bottom looks fine as well, so I'll just put that back on. So there's our hard drive. What have we got there? 209.8 megabytes Seagate. It's an ST9235AG. But all in all, looks pretty clean in here, actually. I don't see any real cause for concern. Possibly these SMD caps down in there, but just looking in the light, I can't see that they've leaked either. Solder around them looks nice and shiny. I do like that this CPU is actually really quite interesting. The CPU has a little, like a regular, if I can get under there, regular arm, and it's just removable. How cool is that? So there's our CPU. Wonder if I can put a DX in here. I certainly have some DX. I think I've got a DX 50 that I might be able to drop in here, because it would be the SX25, and then the 50 is just doubling the clock rate, so it may just work, but I don't know. Something to try. Here's our floppy. Looks pretty standard. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just pop this back in for now. Let's plug it in and just see what we get. See if we're getting voltage on the... Yeah, so it is generating 20 volts. So this would be the 20 volts to charge the battery. Okay, let's plug in the main board. It should be still going. Yep. I do hear a bit of a kick and then nothing. So I think that is the hard drive trying to spin up. I wonder if this hard drive is just seized over time. Possibly I can give it out, take it out and just give it a bit of a twist, which may loosen up the platter. Let's test the voltage at one of these capacitors. On there, on that, and this pin here. Ah, there we go. 5 volts. 4.5-ish. Yeah, it's not great. Let's check one of the other ones. Let's go to the system ground. Check them all. Yeah, 4.5. That one's at nothing. Yeah, it's not great. CPU gets hot though, so that's something. Actually, the CPU gets very hot. Whoa. Maybe the CPU's busted. I think a 486SX 25 should get that hot that quickly. What I'd really like to do is test the rails coming out of this power supply, but I don't know what they are. I might have to look that up. Alright, so I was just looking at this power supply board. While I was poking around and having a look, I noticed, I don't know if you can see right down in there, with that light, let's see if I can get some better light in there. Where's my light? There's my light. The leak. We have found it. So this capacitor right here has most definitely leaked, but the other ones seem fine all around. So I do have replacements for everything except these 4, so I might just replace those for now. Obviously this one definitely. And then maybe that'll do for now, and I can come back and replace these later when I get an appropriate part. But yeah, for now, let's let's yank these 3 out and clean that guy up. So these 2 pins right there. Let's get out. I'm just going to yank these all out and then come back through and see what we see. Oh, yep, it stinks. Even on the bottom. Oh, yeah, definitely burnt electrolyte. Oh, I hate that smell. Oh. Alright, it's time for my extractor fan. When I'm done. Okay, let's take a look at the underside. Yeah, look at that. That's gross. Linking captures all over the joint. So let's tidy this area up. I may have to check for damaged traces there as well, because that is a lot of leakage. Looks okay. There is a bit of corrosion on the underside on those traces underneath, but they don't look fully gone. I might just double check continuity. I might just scrape them back with my needles here as well. They look intact. It just looks like surface corrosion on top. But the copper does indeed look intact. So I might just cover these up with a bit of solder mask, fresh solder mask. And oh, no, I think we've got one that's gone. Yeah, that trace is gone. Okay, we have to repair that. Yeah. Well, maybe not. No, it is super gone. Yeah. Okay. So we have those traces there. They looked bad, but it's just surface corrosion. And after scraping it back, you can see the copper traces are still nice and healthy. This one right in the middle of the screen, though, next to that pinhole, that one is definitely gone skewed though. So I will have to repair that trace, which will be a bit of a bitch because that is tiny. Let's see if we can find where that goes to. You know what, I might grab my microscope for this because it is so tiny. Alright, so here are the traces that we repaired. You can see that the, well, not the repair, but just scraped back. You can see the corrosion is gone there now. And it's just solid copper the whole way through. But here is the trace that had the damage, and it does look, if I... So what I'll do is I'll just run a little jumper wire underneath it, from that side to this side. Okay, so I'll try and do this on camera. It's going to be pretty hard because of microscopes and stuff, but I've got my solder there. I've got a teensy tiny bit of copper wire. This is enamel coated wire, and I just blob a little bit of solder on the tip of my iron and then melt off just the very tip of that enamel coating. And then if we aim back down here, put just a drop of flux. This is no clean flux because it's the easier one to work with. Well, it does sizzle a lot. Alright, let's get some proper flux in there. Okay. Nice and solid, finally. And then we'll grab our knife. Alrighty, and then we can a green mask on a toothpick. This is a toothpick for size comparison. Try and avoid that through hole there. And down here as well. And we'll use our, we've got a UV curing lamp. Just zoom up. All the way up. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, it's just a UV curing lamp. And I'll just drop that on top. Yep. Okay, so now we can flip this board over. Where are we? We are down here. And we can try and get rid of the solder that's through here, these ones too, and then this one here, and then clean all this junk up. And yeah, get this going. All Alrighty, I think I will move back to overhead cam, so one moment. Cool, so got those 3 caps out, disgusting caps. Got our board cleaned up and we've got our area cleaned up, so let's grab, so these were the 150 microfarad 35 volts, which I believe I have here, 150 35 volts, so let's check these out and hope that they're the right height as well. They do look short and stumpy, so we're good, I think. These are our nice Nichicon, Nichicon 150 35, now the PG models. So let's get those in. Thankfully the positive on all of these is marked, so we can do negative there, negative there, and negative there. They are a touch taller. I'm not sure if that's going to be okay or not, but I guess we'll find out one way or another. So let's pop those in. And I'll just do one leg at a time and then level them out. Cool. There's our new 3 caps. So, since those are the ones that were obviously leaking, I'm just going to give this a test like this. So I'm just going to tidy up a bit here, bring the main laptop board back and see if we get some power. Well, 2 sets of unfortunate news. The first is it didn't work, so obviously it's probably some other of these capacitors are also dead, or maybe there's something else on the board that needs fixing. But the other bad news is that these caps are indeed too tall, and the plastic here has basically no tolerance, so I'm definitely going to have to get some different, shorter 150 microfarad capacitors to fit that very narrow height. Yeah, oh well, I'll have to order from DigiKey or Masaru or somewhere and get some. But there is good news though. When I did plug it in earlier, I noticed that this resistor, I'm not 100% sure what it's there for, but this was scorching, and now it doesn't seem to be, so yay? I don't know, guess we'll find out later when an order comes through. Hey, it's Video Editing Nick here. So I lost the footage, unfortunately, of when I got the final capacitors for the power board recap and just explaining the work that I was doing, but I do have this, which is when I was doing that recap and removing the capacitors that I just changed, I found a dead trace. So I'm just back under the microscope, bridging that on top of the board here. Yeah, enjoy. I've gotten to the point where you can obviously see that there is a screen in front of me. What I've done is with the laptop, the power supply board is all recapped. It is working much better now. It's giving power. It looks like the hard drive light flashing is the actual hard drive dead. I took the hard drive out. It's this Seagate. I actually looked it up and this isn't the original drive that came with it. I don't know if you remember, on the bottom it said a T4400C/120, which means it should have come with a 120 meg drive, and this is obviously a 209.8. But regardless, I can't get this drive to power up. It just seems to be completely cactus. So don't know if I can get that fixed or if it's worth bothering. What I've done though is I popped in a CF card with a 2.5mm IDE adapter, and it now seems to boot. The screen pops up and flashes, but then it just kind of fizzles. So I went through the process, and I did this all off camera, of taking the screen off and extracting out the panel. The backlight driver board sits there in the, I'll just show you that bit, in the casing here, so it sits like that. And then you've got the display connectors on the left there, and the inverter board on the right there. So, Let's take a look and see what we see. So on the back, you can see that this is where the connectors for the display actually came in. So this is where the driver, the LCD driver board is. So that's what we want to focus on. Oh, there's my camera. Okay, so cool. This is just, yeah, shield just lifts up. Okay, and as we can see, there is a driver board under there, which, oh, hello, looks fine. Can't see anything obviously wrong on it from this side, but I also don't see any electrolytic capacitors, I mean, and that's pretty unusual. So looks like there's 2 screws, there's 1 and 2, so let's get those out of there. Looks like we may have to take these cables out first to get underneath that. Oh, okay, so this screw actually looks pretty crusty. That's not good. Yeah, I can see some scunge there. Oh, there's little hinges. Oh, so up and okay, I guess I do have to take that out. Okay. Okay, there's our board. Oh yeah, look at that. Looks like, yeah. There's some down here too. So, okay, let's take a closer look at this. We have, what's look like 6 electrolytic capacitors here. 10, 10, 10. We got a 22 and we've got 2 33s over here. They're all about 35, 25 volts. You got 25s and these are all 35s. But it looks like they have all pretty much leaked or something, because if you look really closely with my pointer here, the surface right there on the, it's not as shiny as, like if you look over in these ones where there's no, it's really nice and shiny, and right there it's gone very dull and brittle, and you can see I'm actually able to scratch that off without any effort whatsoever. And over here, this one, you can see it's actually started corroding there too, it's rusted. And this one obviously very corroded. So I'll have to change all of these. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see that through there. Let's see if I can get my light. Always losing that thing. Yeah, in the middle contact there, it's actually gone green. Which is a pure, very obvious sign of corrosion. So, going to have to take all of these out and replace them. So, let's pop this. Oh yeah, look at the post there. Oh, that's disgusting. I want to scrape that back and hopefully it hasn't damaged. See that juice there is. Yeah, I'll have to clean all that up. Okay. Alright, I think I'm going to take a photo of that so that I know what goes where and then attack it afterwards. Well, okay, so these two, one of them fell off when I flipped the board and the other one fell off when I just kind of poked it to the side, so they are very dead, and yeah, you can see just how destroyed they are there. Look at that, that is terrible. I'm going to have to clean up a lot of this. I think I'm going to need to get rid of this board so that I can get space and adequately clean them. The rest do seem to be on still fairly solidly, so I'm going to take those off properly. But this is the best that I've got at the moment. So these two on the side, I do actually have matching 33 microfarad 25 volt electrodes. The ones that fell off, these three, I do have small radials. They are 10 microfarad 35 volt, and this one in the middle I have a 2250, not a 2235. It's a little bit taller. I might be able to just wedge it down like that, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I'm just going to breeze through this, pretty much remove, replace, clean, etc, etc. I'll be back when this is done. Well, unfortunately, yeah, I was able to replace these two caps onto the side, so those are the new ones. That was nice. Then as I was removing the final two capacitors that were on board, this one came off a little bit okay. The legs on the cap just snapped off underneath, but this one in the middle tore the whole pad up with it. It looked like it was already broken off by the time I got to it. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. Thankfully, it looks, if I trace this is the pad that's missing. If I trace this pad down, it goes to a power trace, and then on the back here, that power trace comes from underneath here. That's that via right there, and then it goes to this pin here. So I might just be able to run the wire that was on this pad just straight to that pin there. So like this is the capacitor here. So I might just be able to do something like that. Yeah, and just have it kind of lie flat like that. Anyway, I will need to. I've tried to clean as much of the goop off. You can see that I've scratched the black substance, which is the corroded electrolyte corrosion, etc. stuff that's on there. I've tried scratching it off, but now I'll just have to do the proper cleanup with my iron, and I use a little bit of the wick as an abrasive and scratch it clean, then properly tin the pads back, and then put the new caps on, which are these three. So I've got 2, 3, and that one in the middle. So yeah, can't win them all. Let's get to replacing. And I am finally done. So I had to make some adjustments. You can see that I have placed these capacitors lying down because I don't know what it is about this laptop, but there is zero clearance anywhere. Everything is so tightly packed in. Toshiba did a wonderful job. And as you can see, this capacitor is not over here in the middle. These two are lying flush with each other right in that little tight space there. And this one is just way too big. So what I did was I traced the pins entirely, found that it's between this pin, the far left here, which is ground, and this pin in the position 2, which I guess is voltage or something. It looks like a big decoupling cap, and this is like a mini power supply for the logic board. So it is nice and secure in there, and I've insulated that wire as well, because on the screen here we can see that it butts up right against this board there. It kind of sits in that way, as you can see. But there is just enough space, so yeah, let's get this in and see if it works. I'm gonna fast forward through putting the laptop back together, and hopefully it should be good now. Okay, we've got this barely back together. Screen's in, everything's attached. I've got it reconnected here, but it's just held in with one screw, so I'm holding it really gently. And we have the power in, and I'm just gonna hit the power button now. Let's see what we see. Okay, we got the lights, that's good. Backlight kicked in, I just heard the inverter. There goes the floppy. Okay, so the screen is very dim, but we are now getting error in CMOS bad checksum. Okay, so that's a good sign. Screen working again. Excellent. Alright, I'm going to put this back together and get the keyboard back in and see if I can get this thing to boot. Okay, so we're in reflection cam now, and as you can see, well, you're looking at the screen and it's already back together. The only thing I've just put the keyboard in temporarily, and I do know I'm going to need to take this apart again in the future because the CMOS battery, there's actually 2 backup batteries in this. There's one which is the CMOS battery, and there's another that's like a temporary power. I'm not 100% sure what it was. It was a little bit confusing in the manual, but I will need to rebuild those. I don't have the parts for them. I'm going to need to buy the specific little cells that each one needs, and the connectors, lots more. Not necessary right now to get it running. The other thing that I don't know if I mentioned is that the CPU out of this was busted. So this is the one that came out of it, and it refused to boot whatsoever. So I've actually dropped a 486 DX33. So it came with an SX25 and I've put in a 33. Now it's not going to run at 33 megahertz because the crystal on this will only ever run at 25. But what the DX will give us though is the math coprocessor built in, so it should actually still provide additional benefits, even though it will still only run at 25 megahertz. I saw a guide online where people could actually replace the crystal underneath to a 33 megahertz and then use a 33, or if I did that, I could even upgrade to using this DX66, which would give it quite a boost, but that's a later project. For now though, let's give this some power and see what we get. I've turned off the lights so that the screen is a little better, but here we go. Power, okay, so yeah, we're looking at memory test, and this basic has no ROM basic. Okay, so yeah, we are going to need to get a floppy on there. I've put in the CF card with, well, it's completely blank, and I'll need to pop in an MS-DOS boot disk, but let's see if we can get into CMOS. I think I just hold escape when we power this on. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so yeah, you can see we have a T4400SX. So it's not actually the C. Interesting. Might be a different board. But we've got, yeah, look at that. We've got 4 meg of RAM built in, 640 base, and then some extended. We've got the VGA compatible LCD. There's the hard drive. It's detected the CF card that I've put in there, which is 2 gig. That's nice. We've got no battery, so the date and time is wrong. 2 COM ports, floppy, and some boot stuff. Battery alarm, yeah, nice. Okay, I'm gonna go see if I can get a boot disk, and let's see if I can get that drive initialized and formatted with probably DOS 622. Maybe I can pop this copy of Windows on there. Okay, so I've got my DOS disks ready to go, but before I give it a go with actual disks, first thing I do is use my cleaning disc. So this is a retro-y one, yeah, used back in 1988 a couple of times. Anyway, but what we do is we just grab our alcohol and give it a quick in there a couple of times, just over the felt pad there. Done, and then I'll pop that in the floppy drive, and all that does is it effectively just wipes the head with that alcohol cloth and gives it a clean. So let's get that clean first. That's a bad sound. That is the sound. Damn it. Yeah, that is the sound of a skipping belt. Oh man. Okay, well, I really didn't want to, but it looks like I'll be taking this floppy drive apart and replacing the belt. Okay, so we're a Citizen drive. It's not a W1D like in the Compaq Elites, but Citizen, I guess they do fail. It looks like we got 5 screws. There we go. Alright, so I think I need to take the button off first. There we go, because that's holding it up there, and then that pushes in and lifts up, and then we're just going to watch the head. Beauty, okay. And there's our drive bit. Oh, wow. Look how stretched that is. No wonder it doesn't want to stay attached. Alright, so we're going to take the motor off. Oh, is that a long one? And a short one. Yeah. Yeah, that belt. That is terrible. Okay. Well, I have a thing of spare belts that I got from the local store. Let's see if we have one. Not hopeful. So that's one for a 1D, but it looks like it's much smaller. And also, these are all square. The flat belts that I've got are massive. We kind of want something around the... yeah, might need to use a square belt. We'll see. Not sure a square belt will work. It needs to be bigger. No, that might work actually. Okay. I think that may be too loose actually. Yeah, let's try a smaller one. Oh yeah. Sure, let's try this new belt. That feels much better. It's a bit tighter, which is kind of what I'm going for. It's not overly tight. It's still got a little bit of slack in it, but it feels like it's not skipping anymore. Okay, cool. While we're here, let's just give that a quick empty out, clean out, dusting. You can see quite a lot of dust around here. Yeah, picking up heaps. You can also see a couple of electrolytic power caps at the back here. Now I hope, really hope that this isn't like the Citizen W1D, because the caps in those have all failed now and they cannot provide enough power to the drive to actually spin it once it has a good belt in there. That motor, from when it ran a second ago, did sound like it was actually pretty good, so... But I might have to tear this down and replace those two caps. Just taking a look at them though, it doesn't look like they've leaked. The solder connections look nice and shiny, which is kind of all we can hope for. But yeah, okay, let's see how we go with this. And what I may also do is just use the other clean side of that Q-tip while I've got it open. Didn't really want to do it. I was going to do it with a disc, but let's just leave those heads a very gentle clean. Okay, back together. Give this a wipe down too, get the dust in there. Ugh. Gross. Okay, old belt, new drive, back in the case it goes. Okay, moment of truth, here we go. I've got my cleaning floppy again. Let's pop it in the drive and power it on. That's a good sound. Yeah, there we go. Much better, nice and clean. Spinning well, seeking. Unable to read a cleaning disk yet though, so it should whinge in a moment. There we go. Okay, so let's pop you out and put in our MS-DOS 6.22 install disk. And let's just try good old Control Delete. Yep. Let's see how we go. Oh, that's what I want to see. Oh, God, I love that sound. Yes. Yeah. Configure hard disk first, thank you. I would like to configure my hard disk. It is blank, so we might as well. Yep, go nuts. Well, I'm gonna proceed with installing DOS and then probably Windows, maybe some games. I think I'm gonna button this all back up together. And yeah, I think the only other thing that I kind of need to do to this laptop now is repack the battery. So the battery definitely does not take a charge. It doesn't even register that it has cells. So yeah, I think this has been pretty good work. Yeah, formatting the drive, that's nice. So yeah, it's definitely needed a recap of the power supply. The motherboard looked in good shape, but it did need a new CPU. So we do have a DX33 in there now, 486, which is kind of cool. Increase over the SX25 that was in there. I'll try to find a DX250. I think that'd probably be the best upgrade for that because it would allow us the 2 multiplier of the DX2 without changing the onboard crystal to go up to the 66. But yeah, we'll see if I can find one of those. I don't have one in my stash at the moment. Yeah, that'll do. And then I think, yeah, I don't know, this is pretty good actually. Let's see how it goes. Play it by ear from there. But I'm gonna get going with this and yeah. So I have the Toshiba set up and I've just got it running through my capture card so that you can get a better view instead of that blurry reflection camera as before. But let's get this going. So I've got it booted up. As you can see here, we've got the 4 meg of memory running. So if I go into DOS bench and then run DOS bench, and we'll first of all check the system info. So there you can see it is a 486DX. I've got the 50 megahertz in. I've gone down to the 500 meg or the 512 CF card because the 2 gig is, well, it's just too big. Got the expanded memory, we've got regular memory. Let's do the CPU speed benchmark. So yeah, there you go. It's about as fast as a DX33, which is, yeah, it's about right. From there, let's exit out and let's go into, let's do speed sys. Well, yeah, we've only got 4 megs, so that makes sense. Sucks though. I need to get one of the memory expansion cards that go in the expansion bay at the front of this. But there we can see it is indeed picking it up as a DX250 as well. Codename P24. 4 meg of memory. BIOS, Toshiba Corporation, nice. Finish the testing, and yeah, we should show up on that far left-hand bracket there, the 486DX250. Yeah, bang on pretty much. Let's skip the hard drive test, that's pointless. But let's try, I'm not going to bother with Doom or Quake because it's just not going to work on this computer, but let's do the 3D bench. Let's see how it goes. That's not looking too bad actually. Yeah. Alright, 23.8, not too bad. So the other thing that I wanted to try is this computer, it's actually got the option to speed up or slow down the CPU based on, it can do it automatically based on the battery life. If your battery life is running low, it can automatically throttle the CPU. But it's also got, just on the page up, page down with the function key, you can just swap between the modes. So I'm going to hit function and then page down, and that will put it into slow mode, and the little power/speed LED on the front has gone red. And let's run that bench again, and let's see if that made a difference. So we were at 23.8 in fast mode. So yeah, it already looks slower. That's cool. So this is a good power saving measure. Yeah, there you go. So we've lost 4-ish frames per second coming on the faster slow mode there. That's kind of cool. So just for the hell of it, let's finish this out with that Doom benchmark. So we're going to be looking at B. Let's do the max details. Yeah, come on, push that 50 megahertz to the limit. Ooh. Oh, that's not really playable. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good stuff. This is going to take a while. 2134 game ticks in 5384 real ticks. That's pretty slow. I don't have the calculation to figure out the frames per second off the top of my head, but slow. Just for funsies, let's run Doom on a postage stamp and see how this laptop goes. Yeah, there you go. Totally playable. Okay, so yeah, 2134 game ticks in 1461 real ticks. So yeah, postage stamp size, it's okay. I mean, you can't play it, but it runs at least. But yeah, anyway, benchmarks, laptop, seems to work pretty well. Not too bad. So that is my Toshiba T4400C back to life. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Needed quite a lot of repair with both the power supply, the hard drive was dead, and the video board itself was dead as well. Needing a lot of recapping and some trace repair from corroded everything, leaked capacitors. But you know, it's turned out really well. Popped the new CPU in there as well, which has given it a very nice boost. And that's turned into quite a functional little laptop. So yeah, I think this will go quite nicely on my collection of other Toshiba laptops of this era. I think I've got an 1100, a 1200, 3200, and a 4400 now. So I'm gonna have to get something in the 2000 range. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for sticking around. See you later.